Gemini. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for November of 2021. Well, this month you're going to find a lot of activity concentrated in your sixth house of work, health, service, and personal organization. A mission orders reading could answer any questions that come up for you about your workplace and how you organize things there. You'll find a link for that in the YouTube description below. Well, there has been something just lovely going on this year that you probably haven't heard much about, but this month is the final month for it. And so I wanted to let you know so you could squeeze all the juice out of it. And that is that Saturn has been sextiling Chiron. Saturn is the Lord of discipline, and any house of yours that it occupies is going to be a place where you're going to find that you are pressed by life and the people around you to be more disciplined, to be more adult, to be more mature and professional and show the utmost integrity. For you, this house is the ninth house, which is the house of your beliefs, your worldview, also a house of travel and your interactions with the exotic in the form of people and places. People from a different cultural background than yourself. So Saturn is on a 2.5-year journey through this house, pressing you to take more responsibility and be more adult in those areas. I don't know exactly where Saturn is in this journey until I get a look at your actual natal chart, then I can give you more precise dates for that apply to you personally. Meanwhile, Chiron is traveling along through your house of community, of networks, groups, tribe, the people of like mind that you feel a sense of belonging with. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron takes things that have been split apart, brings them back together, seals it over, and heals you in that area. And so it's been busily doing that. It's on a 7-year journey of doing that in the arena of community. So you may find that you're healing yourself in community contexts, you're healing breaches in your own community, and that's all wonderful stuff. And the more that you do that good stuff, it contributes to the great job that Saturn is doing in having you take more responsibility for what you really believe and how you hold that belief in your mind and how you interact with people who don't believe that. And Saturn's good work of forcing you to do more adulting in that area is also helping and supporting Chiron's work at mending things in your community. If you want to find out more about these guys and their journey this year, then check out our November 2021 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. So Julia's got some news about Mercury, Venus, and Mars.
Hey,
and Julia, what is that good stuff?
Yeah, hey Jamie, hey Gemini. I do have some great news for you about Mercury, Mars, and Venus this month. So let's start with Mercury. Wherever we have Mercury is where we spend a lot of our month thinking. Those areas of life which we expend the most mental energy and where we can do a lot of communicating as well. Now, Mercury had a whole retrograde cycle last month. The good news is it's over this month, so no more miscommunications and technical snafus for a little while. And Mercury begins the month in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of children. It's also the house of creativity and games. It's a wonderful transit for all of the creative writers out there because this is such a creative house. And Mercury represents writing. It's also a time where you might notice there's more communication with your children than usual. Maybe they're calling you more, which is nice. And since this is also the house of games and Mercury is also a trickster game-loving planet, you could really enjoy spending your mental energy on all types of games this month, whether it's wordplay games or video games or games that involve strategy. Then after the 5th, Mercury moves into your 6th house of work. So during this transit, the 6th house, it represents not just your job, but also it's the house of health too. So you could be spending the rest of the month spending a lot of time thinking about your job. Maybe you're working on some project and you're strategizing and really kind of engrossed in it mentally. It can be a great transit for learning new things at the job too, because Mercury is a planet that loves to learn. And since the 6th house can represent our health, then you could be spending a lot of time thinking about your health this month. Maybe you're thinking, oh, should I hire hire a new doctor? Should I try a new supplement? Should I try a new regimen? So those could all be matters that you're thinking of this month. Then Mars, the planet of action and activity, is in your sixth house too all month. So you could be feeling very driven to kind of initiate something new with your health. This could be a wonderful transit for starting a new physical regimen, especially one that will support your health goals in some way, or some type of diet too. Now, Mars in the sixth can bring up some chronic health things, so if you have chronic issues, we all have something. Maybe it's allergies, maybe it's migraines, maybe it's urinary tract infections, but chronic stuff can also act up a little bit too now. And since Mars is a bit of a conflict-prone planet, there might be other frustrations and conflicts at work as well. Now let's move on to Venus, everybody's favorite, because she represents pleasure and love. She starts the month and spends the first 5 days in your seventh house, which is her favorite house to be in because it represents partnership. So for all the single Geminis, first week of November, really good to get out there to meet somebody new, interesting to talk to and hang out with. And for all the attached Geminis, then this is a very harmonious time in your relationship now. Then on November 5th, Venus moves into the 8th house. This is the house of other people's money. It's also the house of deep physical intimacy. So for the rest of the month, Gemini, you might be feeling a little more physically amorous than usual, which can be fun if you find the right partner. And since the 8th house also represents other people's money, you could get a little bit of luck in terms of other people's money. Maybe your partner, if you're attached, is starting to do well in his or her career, and there's a little bit more money coming into your relationship. Or maybe you need to apply for a loan, and Venus in the 8th is a pretty good time for applying for loans and stuff like that. So good luck with that.
Indeed. Well, Gemini, now I want to tell you about the moons that are going on this month, starting with the new moon in Scorpio, which is in your sixth house. And the new moon is a time of new beginnings. This one is a little bit fraught because moon in Scorpio can be a time when we just feel a little bit more paranoid. A lot of emotions are strong and very near the surface, and a tendency to kind of go on a negative downward spiral. Fortunately, Uranus is here in Taurus opposite that moon, and bringing some of the stability, the stabilizing influence of Taurus, and also the interruption of that downward spiral that only Uranus can deliver. We're calling this moon stabilized paranoia through disruption. I think you can see why. And I think the real caution here is to not let this moon impact you into thinking negatively about people that you work with or events happening in your workplace or your position there. And if somebody, makes to interrupt your downward spiral with a new startling idea, I'd say you should let them. The other moon that I want to tell you about, though, is a little bit more interesting because it's an eclipse. That one features the full moon in Taurus right here in your 12th house, opposite the sun in Scorpio in your 6th. So an eclipse will show you your shadow. That's what eclipses do. That's what they're for. And this particular one being a lunar eclipse, it's going to be through an emotional inward experience that you are forced to see your shadow. This particular moon falls in the 12th house of the hidden. It's a house of secrets. It's a house of the unconscious. So something may come rumbling up from your unconscious and show you your own shadow that way during this eclipse. So watch out for that. This eclipse is built on the nodal axis of South Node in Sagittarius and North Node in Gemini. The nodes have been traveling along through these signs for 18 months, and as they do that, they have been pressing us. The South Node has been pressing us to let go of cherished beliefs that we may be attached to, but which are, downright making our life worse, whether we realize it or not. And meanwhile, the North Node in Gemini is pressing us to embrace more logical, rational ideas and thought processes. So this particular eclipse is likely to bring up arguments between people who have very entrenched beliefs that are very, very different from each other. If you're one of those people, I want to say there's not a lot of hope of changing the other person's mind. You can absolutely lob your rational, great ideas over there into their court, and then you should just let them go and let that person do what they will with those ideas. And they may be trying to lob some ideas over into your court as well. And you should consider them, you know. Not remaining entrenched during this moon is really, really good when you can manage it. We're calling this moon, it doesn't matter if you're right. You can find out more about both of these moons on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, in the November 2021 news playlist, along with that Saturn sextile Chiron that I talked about earlier. The last thing I want to share with you is that we have a seasonal change as we have every month. The sun is leaving Scorpio and moving into Sagittarius, which means your seventh house domain of partnership. Wherever the sun goes, it's really good to shine the warmth of your attention. And in this case, it would be about bringing the warmth of your attention into your partnership. Shine a little good light onto your partner and watch them thrive. Put a good quality attention on your partnership itself, and it can thrive. And that can apply to business. It mostly will usually apply to personal relationships, though. And enjoy the Sagittarius season, which is a season of heat and light and warmth, gathering around the tribal fires and celebrating that the harvest is done. And that's what we have for you today, Gemini. Hope you enjoyed that. You can find more good stuff like this on our website, Pandora Astrology, where there's the monthly forecast and the horoscopes, and you can get readings and take classes. Until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.